the reality is that they are trying to undermine Kashmiri's right in Kashmir. Kashmir is an occupied territory, is not part of India by international law, and it should not be sort of going through this process. What they're trying to do is to sort of ethnically manipulate Kashmir first and ethnically cleanse it by sort of undermining the legitimacy of Kashmiris to be ruling and deciding the future of Kashmiris. And all the legislation changes is to that direction. And it needs to be challenged. The problem is in Kashmir, in India, in Palestine, and elsewhere, that so-called Muslim governments, which we talked about earlier on, are part of the problem, not part of the solution. And they are, you've seen how these Arab rulers have been promoting and giving at the same time what Modi is doing in Kashmir and the rest of India. They're giving him medals and awards and so forth. But the fact is this, that doesn't stop our responsibility. We need to rise up to these challenges. The way we could do this is, first of all, to educate ourselves regarding what is happening, understand the reality, understanding the direction, and understanding what is very important is not looking at these incidents on a sort of isolated incident. We need to connect the dots of what is happening in India and what direction is going and what needs to be done to stop that direction, rather than having a sort of amnesia regarding what has happened the year before or 6 months before, and looking at every incident like it's something has come out of the blue and there is no direction to it. We need to be rising up to these challenges. We need to campaign, we need to support those who are in that area and the victims and the Mazlumin there. And we need to understand, without resistance by the people there, and without us supporting that resistance in every means that we can do, there won't be victory won. Secondly, we will be answerable on Day of Qiyamah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that this happened, what did you do? And it doesn't mean that we are responsible to resolve it. That is in the hand of Allah. But we are responsible to do something according to our ability, the full of our ability. And that is something that we need to learn, because we are not going to see the end of oppression around the world against Muslims. And indeed, we are not going to see the return of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, Mahdi alayhi salam, without preparing ourselves to stand up to the challenges of our time. We should do it as individual, and even more important, to organize ourselves to do it as a community. This is in Palestine, this is in Kashmir, this is in Myanmar, this is sort of going, even Egypt, Saudi Arabia, places like Britain, United States, everywhere else. We have to stand up against injustice. And we've been told what to do. If you see something wrong, what do? First, you change it with your hand, i.e., physically you get involved. If you can't do that, and only if you can't do that, then you stop it with your tongue, i.e., you speak out against it. And if we can't do that, then you hate it in your heart. This hadith doesn't say just hate it in your heart and get on with your life and go on holiday and enjoy yourself. It's very clear. Those stages we have to do. And the hadith goes on that is the lowest level of hurting in your heart. That's the lowest level of iman. I.e., if you don't do that, then you don't even have iman. And I think that one of the problem is, and this is true everywhere, and I'm sure to some extent this direction is happening everywhere. I'm sure it's happening where you are as well, that we are being forced not to do the right thing. Our mosque, our institutions and everything, we are being forced to Christianize our religion. So, we just should be busy with the spirituality. It's none of our business what happens. That is not Islam. That's not the Islam of Muhammad. Resistance and struggle is part and parcel of our deen. Especially those who follow A'imma alayhi salam. All our A'imma, all of them, they challenged the Taghut of their time. They did it in different methodology and so forth. Not every single one took the position of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. But they resisted. They resisted, and the proof of it is that they became shaheed by the Taghut and authority of their time. If they did what most of the Muslims today do, but going and just forgetting about the Zalimeen and just saying, no, I got to get on with it. I do taqiyya. I have just bring bread home and look after my family and have a comfortable life. I just don't say anything, don't challenge anything, don't get into trouble. That is not the teaching of our A'imma. That is not Islam Muhammadi. That is not the Islam of Ahlul Bayt. How can we talk about Ahlul Bayt with one minute, and second minute we promote doing something which none of our A'imma have done? None of them. We actually have to understand resisting and supporting the resistance on every level that we can, as the hadith goes, is our responsibility. If we don't, on a day of Qiyamah, we will be answerable. We're going to be asked